else is standing outside the door texting me, so that's good. Okay, let me see if I can catch up to you. Wyatt can husk at least 12 dozen ears of corn per hour, and at most 18 dozen ears of corn per hour. So he's got 72 dozen ears of corn. So if I do this, what am I going to find? Like 72 over 12. That's the slowest amount of time, right? 6 hours is what it took him. Okay. And it says at least 12, so that does mean over that. And then what's 72 over 18? Is that 4? So we're between these two. It says at least, so that's 12 or more. So I guess we could choose what? What are the options we could choose for X, for the time? What is a possible amount? 5 would work. Guess what else would work? 4. Guess what else would work? 6. Just pick one. Right? So, sometimes kids hate these questions because they're like, oh my goodness, there's more than one possible answer. Maybe I'm wrong. Because you guys have been forced into always choosing one correct answer most of your life. Well, that one has 3 choices that you could pick from. Okay, posted weight limit for a covered wooden bridge in Pennsylvania is 6,000 pounds. A delivery truck that is carrying X identical boxes, each weighing 14 pounds, will pass over the bridge. Okay. If the combined weight of the empty delivery truck and its driver is 4,500 pounds, so that's the empty truck and the driver. A delivery truck, and then we have 14 pounds per box, and they're all identical boxes. Do we want this to be greater than or equal to 6,000 or less than or equal to 6,000? Yeah. Greater than or equal to, and we die. We don't want that. Not today. After we've had such a wonderful e-learning day, there's no way. So obviously you're going to take the 4,500 over to the other side, and then you're going to divide, right? So when you divide it by 14 and 1,500, oops, that's 15,000, delete, divided by 14, I got 107.14, something like that. So, blah, blah, blah. What is the maximum possible value? Any ideas? Thoughts out there in TV land? Even you at home could text me an answer using the chat line. And then if I happen to pay attention to it, I'll see your answer. No thoughts on what the maximum number is? 107, thank you. Okay. That's exactly right. All right, 33. Number of portable medias sold worldwide. According to the line graph above, what number of portable media players sold in 2008? The number of sold in 2008 is what fraction of the number sold in 2011? So they want 2008 on top. What's 2008? That's 100. And 2011, 160. So what's the fraction? Come on, reduce it. You can do it. Well, we could take a factor of 10 out, right? So now it's 10 over 16. What does that reduce to? come on, you fraction people. This is a safe place. You're not going to be chastised. Am I the only one that knows? Do we need to review fraction reducing? Come on. What can you take out of 10 and 16? 2, right? So that gives me 5 on the top and 8 on the bottom. Okay. Just checking. You just had to divide both by 2. You know, I actually, with like 5 minutes to go, there was nobody in this room. And I actually thought to myself that I drove all the way across the county and nobody would show up. You'd all be online. And then I'd be like, well, crap, I could have just stayed at my house and taught this class. So thank you for coming. But I understand. That's why we have the online option available. A local television station sells time slots for programs in 30-minute intervals. If the station operates 24 hours per day, every day of the week, what is the total number of 30-minute time slots the station can sell for Tuesday and Wednesday? Okay, how many? Those are half-hour time slots. How many of those do we have in a 24-hour period? We've got 48 of those. But we've got Tuesday and Wednesday, so we're going to double it. Sounds like a job for 96. Right? So, thought it was going to be more complicated than that, but it really, that's why I tell you guys that some of these questions are not as bad as some of those multiple choices you get toward the end of the multiple choice. They start getting more difficult. You don't want to not have enough time to try these because, you know, for instance, some of these are not too bad. Dairy farmer uses a storage silo that is in the shape of a right circular cylinder above. That's very common for dairy farmers. If the volume of the silo is 72 pi cubic yards, what is the diameter of the base of the cylinder in yards? Okay. It's a good thing everything's in yards. I don't have to worry about converting anything. So how do I find volume of this thing? Good news, at the beginning of every SAT test is a list of formulas in case you don't remember. But what is the volume formula for a right circular cylinder? Didn't you guys in geometry class talk about the area of the base times the height? What's the area of a circular base? It's got a pi in it, I'll tell you that. Pi r squared, and then of course you're going to multiply by the height. In this case, we know that the volume is 72 times pi. Sorry. I was thinking I was writing an H, but just a pi. And we know what the height is. Height's 8, so we can actually, no, that's not what I wanted. We can actually remove this H and in its place put an 8. Well, what should we do to both sides of the equation? What can we divide by? Remember, we're trying to find out what the radius is. What are we going to divide by? 8 pi. So if we divide by the 8 pi, so the pi's are gone and the 8's are gone. So that leaves me with the radius squared is equal to what? The pi's cancel, obviously. 72 over 8 is 9. Oh, just happens to be a perfect square, doesn't it? That's convenient. Yeah, we're going to take the square root of both sides. I get that. Why is 3 not the answer? Why is 3 not the answer?
What's the diameter?
They asked me about the diameter. You must pay attention to the question. Just like back in geometry class, when sometimes they would say, solve for x, and then other times they would say, find the angle. And so if you solved for x but never plugged it back in to find the angle, you missed it even if you knew what you were doing. So the diameter in this case is 6. Okay, there are a couple different ways to go on this question, but over the years, what I think I have found is that you guys all like to go the most difficult route. It's not like it's horrible or anything like that, but so we might as well just stick with what you guys know. Okay, so for instance, over the years, what I've seen kids do is this. They square x minus 5. Okay, so what is x minus 5 quantity squared? Come on, x minus 5 times x minus 5. What do you get? X times x, anything like that? Ringing a bell? Come on, Algebra 1, you can do it. Is this a foreign concept or am I? Okay, it's been a long day evidently. A long day, but you got extra sleep. X squared, we got minus 5x and minus 5x, that makes minus 10x, and then minus 5 times minus 5 is 25. Well then of course you guys distribute the 4, right? And you get 4x and a minus 20. And then of course you got this plus 4 on the end. Okay, so when you add those things together, what do you get? Obviously we get x squared, right? How many x's are we talking about? Negative 6. And what is 25? Take away 20 plus 4. That's 9. So this is what we were really dealing with. Most of the kids who get this question wrong choose 5 immediately. They look up there, see x minus 5, and they bite on it right away. They pick 5. And if I was running out of time and I just had to guess, maybe that's what I'd throw in there too if I wasn't thinking about it. But can you factor this thing right here? If so, what does it factor into? Low disk space. All right, close. Let me check something here, please. What does it factor into? What multiplies together to give you 9, but adds up to 6? Yeah, they're both minus 3's. So what is the only value of x which would make this thing undefined? It has to turn the bottom into 0. What number would do that? 3. So the correct value that would make that undefined is 3, not 5. Okay, 37, Jessica opened a bank account that earns 2% interest compounded annually. Her initial deposit was $100, and she uses the expression 100 x to the t to find the value of the account after t years. What is the value of x in this expression? She earns 2%. You got to remember that every percentage starts out at 100% and goes up or down from there. So if we're going up 2%, that would be 102%. So what number, what x value would represent 102%? 1.02. I draw that visual all the time. You guys don't really have any problems when it goes over 100%, except if it goes over 200%. You know, that's when people start passing out. But when we go down, when we lose value, that's when that visual kind of helps people. Because if this question had been going down 2%, sometimes, now 2% isn't that drastic of a number, and hopefully you'd be able to do that quickly and get a different value, 0.98. But if the value, wow, that's a bad looking 8. If it was like 1.372 and you were decreasing, some kids have a hard time with that one, just because they're not visualizing the whole subtract from 100% to give you that value. So Jessica's friend Tyshawn found an account that earns 2.5% interest compounded annually. Tyshawn made an initial deposit of $100 and 2.5%, that'd be 1.025. At the same time, Jessica made a deposit of $100 into her account, okay, and she had a 1.02. Okay, after 10 years, okay, so we've got 10 years on both of these. How much more money? Okay, so what are we going to do? Once we find these two numbers, it's saying how much more money did Tyshawn make? So what are we going to do with these two values once we find them? We're going to subtract them. So find the values and then subtract. Okay, pull out the old handy dandy machine. Now when I did it, I got, sorry, stop moving around there. Can someone verify if you got $6.11? Yes? Okay. When I subtracted the two numbers, I got $6.11. Not a ton, but they didn't start out with a lot of money at the beginning anyway. Okay. All right, I'm going to give you 15 minutes, and we need to pick a new test. So let me